He was just really angry because you didn't consider him a local. All the time he spends here, um, 3 weeks, out of a month, and all he's done more than you, because you're a local. Yeah, man. And I mean, the whole time Ann was up there, and there was more f bombs laid out. I was so surprised that she stayed in it.
Right.
I really was, because I mean, he's angry. He's butthurt now. I think he's not used to being told no, or whatever. But he just kept pointing it out, and this, that, and the other, and then at the end, oh boy, he got another creator, and she, for some reason, doesn't like my messages, even though.
Okay, guys. So that you understand who this is and what they're talking about, this is Cassie, and Cassie reports on the Michael Miller case. And the page that you're looking at now is CJ Crime Concepts. If you guys go back, I did a video talking about JP has a new friend. CJ is the one in that video, and he went up to see John Paul Miller at the church, and John Paul Miller shared a peach with him off the tree that his grandfather planted. The peaches were good and juicy and all that kind of stuff. And this is really before John Paul was doing these interviews, and he was telling CJ that he has so much information that he's going to be sharing. I don't know if they became pals, but there's some background on that. Now, why I'm making this video featuring these two is because I happened to be in Cassie's live earlier, and there was a spat that came about. Apparently, there was a second group created for the protesters, just for the protesters, in the Michael Miller case, which I didn't know about before, but I'm happy to hear that they have that, because they should have their own group where they can organize and, just kind of keep their little circle safe. And, the lady from I forgot, the Dominion something church that is associated with John Paul, they had their daughter come and fake like she was a reporter and actually do an interview with the reporters. With the protesters, and she was asking them about what is their agenda with protesting. And a couple of them did focus on, we want to get the church shut down. And this was shortly before the recent probate hearing we just heard, to where Regina, who is Michael Miller's family's lawyer, she was Michael Miller's lawyer beforehand, and what's his name? JP, his lawyer, before they came out and made this famous announcement that the Michael Miller family is moving on from JP Miller. That is a very controversial announcement. They also talked about they came to a global agreement, meaning on all matters concerning John Paul Miller and Michael Miller, all matters, whether it's her probate, any potential charges, civil, criminal, they won't pursue anything John Paul Miller anymore. John Paul Miller's attorney also stressed the fact that he wants the protesters to move on. Micah's family wants the protesters to stop and move on. He also pointed at Micah Miller's family's lawyer and said the family wants the protesters to stop and move on. Micah Miller's family attorney, who we refer to as Regina, that's her name, she also said, we're moving on from all that. Okay, but the protesters, from what I understand, are going to continue. Okay, so they have their own group. I don't know if it's on Facebook or where it is, but it is for protesters and locals only. Okay, I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's in the description, but Cassie created the group. There is a second group that was created, and these things happen due to disagreements or somebody wanting to head their own thing, which the protesters should be in unison. I just want to put that out there. But they have a group. Cassie created it. It's for if you're local to South Carolina, where they live, and you are a protester. Eventually, CJ got added to the protest group. Now, he is not a resident of South Carolina. He does argue that he spends a great deal amount of time there. And I assume that is mainly because he covers the protesting. He's not protesting with them. I have not yet seen him actually protest with them. But I would assume that he probably considers himself a protester because him being there is part of him supporting the protesting, and he is covering it. He's not the only one covering it, but he covers it to bring back to everybody else who's not there to see. And usually when people cover it, they have different angles. Now, for me, I tried watching his live on the protests. He does have extensive lives. In fact, this is one of his live right now that's been going for 3 hours. They go very long. I couldn't follow along too good on his video because he kept talking about his foot and the injuries in his foot. I tried watching another one, and there was too much talking on his behalf, in my opinion. And that's okay. I guess that is, people who are loyal supporters of his probably do want to come and chat with him and all that. But if I'm coming to see the protests, I want to see protest stuff, and I don't want to hear CJ's voice all in the camera and talking. He's, for the most part, from what I've seen, at a distance from the actual protesters and their happenings, and he sets his camera up, but it's like the protesters are in the background and you can hear his voice loudly talking and chatting with and to his audience while the protesting stuff is in the background, not being filmed up close. Okay, and that's just my personal perception of his coverage, and I just wanted to put that out there because I believe that he could bring more value and cover the protests and not make it about him, his life story, his latest news, and his foot. I hope your foot gets better, but I know more about your foot than I know about anybody else's foot right now and what's going on. You injured it before, and that Sunday morning it just started hurting real bad and you wanted some advice, blah blah blah. To me, all of that is personal, and for your fan club, it's not centered, in my opinion, around the protesting. And that's just a little criticism that I think also adds to this debate or dispute that he's having, because he feels like he should be a part of the local protesting group. I'm not here to say he should or he shouldn't. I'm just telling you guys what's going on and giving you my perception. From what I understand, from what Cassie said earlier in her live, this was a TikTok live. They are live on TikTok. TikTok does not save the lives for us. I guess every platform has to have something unique about it. but the platform holder can choose to take that live and upload it to Rumble, to YouTube, or whatever. I don't think Cassie does that. So you catch her, you catch it, Pokemon. You got to catch them all. I don't know. However, I happen to be privy to that live, and I caught another one just now, and they're still talking about it. So I'm not sure how bad it got, but from what I'm hearing, what you just heard in the beginning of this video, it got pretty bad. She was playing some of CJ ranting in her live earlier when he began the rant on his live. Again, I believe it was that 4-hour live, so good luck with that. I don't have a timestamp. I didn't go back and listen to his version, but I heard enough. And here I am giving my opinion and my commentary on this. It doesn't bring me any pleasure to cover any of the drama within. And that is another point of me talking about this, because in my opinion, this should not exist. This is about Micah Miller. This is about Micah Miller. At the end of the day, it even supersedes her family, although they're a special consideration, and I think that's across the board. But it's about Micah over anyone. So there should not be a beef between content creators that spills over into the public and is even brought to the public in the first place. I think that's very unprofessional of CJ, disrespectful and out of line. When I originally saw this taking place, I was invited to come on Cassie's live, not for this purpose. I was invited shortly before that, and I was unable to attend. I was about to go into a business meeting. However, had I gotten on that live, I would have expressed what I'm about to express to you right now. First of all, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Cassie stated in that live that there was CJ and another person added to the group by other members, or they were asked to be added and allowed to be added by her somehow or another. She did not double check and say, hey, are these people live and actually protesting? I mean, are they local? Sorry. Because that is the base of the group. And I understand why it is important for them to keep it about if you're active in protesting and local. It makes sense. And for them to be able to keep their business together, because we observe, we appreciate the whole Justice for Micah situation benefits from them protesting, and they are an important piece to this situation. Being that someone already infiltrated them, and we are sure used that interview to help them in court. We weren't there. We don't have the transcripts that I know of. Anybody doesn't have it. You can get it, I'm sure. But we don't have it. But apparently it was used given what the lawyers announced, which is why I mentioned all of that. And all of that to also add to why, one of the reasons why they need to make sure they keep their circle about them so that they can, keep themselves proper and organized. And for legal reasons also, because when the lady came and got a fake press badge, apparently she felt like it was important for her to gather this information. And being that we saw what happened, we understand how just interviewing protesters can be useful information. She asked specific questions. Unfortunately, they hadn't had the situation, didn't think to prepare for it, and it caught them. Immediately after that happened, I did a video suggesting that they have their own group. They do maybe a Skype once a week, before the meeting or after the meeting or both. And they, delegate people for certain responsibilities. They chat amongst themselves. They talk about legal things. Being that John Paul wants to get them out of there. We've seen strategy after strategy. And then here's the lady coming to interview them under false pretenses that she is an actual reporter with a company. So I made some suggestions along the lines. Apparently they either already had this group and I didn't know about it, but or they started it. But either way, it's a good idea. Also, to add as to how this can become legal, when they found out, which was rather quickly, but they had already spoken. But when they found out that the woman was faking and she wasn't who she said she was, she came from the Dominion Church that JP conveniently had just mentioned. They went and drew up some paperwork, had it notarized, went to her house, filmed it, and served her. And stated that they got the interview of false pretenses, and they do not want them to air the interview. They don't have their permission. Okay. Next thing we know, probably not even a day or two later, True Crime Riri, okay, JP and his crew, in my opinion, put the interview up on a newly made YouTube page under True Crime Riri. Well, we know it's True Crime Riri, but I'll call it True Crime Riri. The entire interview. And then there was the probate hearing and the press conference, okay? So, when Cassie found out that there's some people in the group who either don't participate in all of the protests, she did stipulate if you coming down to participate in the protest, you're allowed to be in a group, but once you're not anymore, you go back home, please leave the group or be prepared to, get escorted out, which is a safety measure, and it's a brilliant one in my opinion as well. A lot of people who come to protest, they don't necessarily live there, and they come for, I can come this Sunday, I'm coming, It's good to be on one accord, understand the rules, do's and don'ts. They can get us for this, they can get us for that. Don't say this, don't say that. You have a right to protest, but we don't have a right to blah, blah, blah. Okay? And people are trying to infiltrate, so, we don't want all that, right? I say we because we are justice for Micah. We got to keep that in mind. With that being said, we should handle disputes properly, fairly, and quickly, and as much privately as possible. Unfortunately, we cannot stop them from arising, but they should be handled respectfully, privately, and swiftly, including fairly. This is not about us. We are doing a service. We're doing a godly service. We should keep that in mind. People are going to seek benefits. They are going to get benefits. Some more than others, and some none at all. We do services every day. You may work at a fast food restaurant. You may work at a grocery store. You may work at the Powerworks company. We are servicing, but we tend to get compensated for those services. It is okay to be compensated for those services because no food is going to fall out the sky for you and your family. Nobody's going to magically pay your bills. including to put a roof over you and your family's head. We need money. The economy is bad. I do not want to hear anymore people talking about somebody getting paid just because you're just now experiencing being involved with a crime, or because you're close to this case, or you feel a way, it tugs at your heartstrings, or whatever the case may be. There is a genre for everything. And almost everyone who posts on social media seeks to, or just by proxy, gain whatever it can give you. And that is perfectly okay. You want the cops to do their jobs in a crime. You want the investigators to do their jobs in a crime. You want the lawyers to do their jobs, the judges, the court reporter, the clerk, everybody involved. And they get compensated for that. The news station that reports has always reported on whatever, but including crime. They have always gotten compensated. From day one, social media or not, it was their job. It's literally a job. They would put it out on the newspaper, and as we advanced, they got on TV, report the news, tell you what happened, tell you what's on sale, tell you who passed away, and talk about crime. It has been a global complaint of a lot of people that the media doesn't cover certain angles. You're not as involved. You tend to only be able to get what they give you. And, they're having their own agendas, and you're often being misled, amongst other complaints. We advanced, we have social media, and people began covering, investigating, and reporting on things. A lot of people did and still do appreciate that. Why are we complaining? Because people tend to also seek to campaign themselves, promote themselves further in life, and to get some kind of benefit from it, because this is your time, this is your efforts, regardless of why you're doing it. Time is something you cannot get back. Whatever you spend it on, we hope we are blessed by God in some kind of way that covers us, as we still have to pay to live. We're humans. We have to pay to live. And because you spent your time there doesn't mean you're exempt from having to still pay to live and eat and take care of yourself. That's going to happen. So if you go get a job at Kroger's, or you're out here putting in on the Micah, Justice for Micah situation, hopefully you're being compensated for your time. And I mean that for any and every one. If you get support from people, donations, if you ask for donations, I am not going to and never would judge a person for doing that. Okay? A lot of people do. You make judgments here and there. I think we should stay out of each other's pockets. Unless you're going down to your local legislation's offices and questioning how you're paying them and what kind of job they're doing for you in exchange versus what they should be doing, and questioning what they should be getting paid. I don't know why you're doing it here. Okay? People think because this is a crime, a woman died, no one should get paid. That, to me, is improper thinking. People get paid concerning crimes since day one. whether it's the sheriff's office doing their investigation, the news reporter reporting it, the coroner, anybody involved, that's their job. And I want to remind you, most have not been happy with their jobs, which is how we became to start doing it on our own. A lot of people have been heavily involved in different aspects of this particular case and have brought forth a lot of great information that has helped us uncover important things relevant to what happened to Micah Miller. So everybody's additions are valuable. To say that someone shouldn't get compensated or be promoted in life from it is disrespectful. You're saying they're not worth reward, when again, we all have to pay to survive. We are the human species. Animals go out here, they get it. They have to work for it just like we have to work for it. But they get to decide how much rations they get, how that home look like. They build it. Work. And we're out here working regardless of what we're doing. We're working. We're walking this life and we're working. And everyone deserves to be able to put themselves in a position that betters them and helps take care of them and their families. I want to make that very, very clear. Some people in the case do it because this is just their niche and that's part of the business. That's okay. That's okay. Some do it because they were drawn to it. It's a passion. It tugged on their heartstrings. God said do it. You know, that's okay too. However, we should respect everyone and respect their lane. And we should also consider what is important over what you want to benefit from and how you personally feel. We can't get ahead of that and put our own personal agendas above what's overall fair and important. Justice for Micah. If Cassie created the group, she gets to decide who is in the group. If you don't like that, have a conversation with Cassie. If you don't like the outcome, don't be in a group. Get you another group. And don't make it controversial. Other than that, what more can you do? What more should you do? What do we allow? What we don't allow is what took place and how CJ decided to handle this. And CJ, Cassie is a woman. I'm not going to sit back and not say anything with you going off on her the way you did. Do I want to get involved in y'all's drama? No. But we are involved because we were exposed to it. So, we're all going to have an opinion. From what I understand, there were other people on the panel who either seemingly supported what CJ was doing and saying, or they also had some kind of input that was apparently not helpful. I'm not going to stress that because I didn't hear any of it. I'm just going off what from the commentary I've heard about it. What I can stress, and I did hear, is how CJ approached this situation. Step 1, you did not contact Cassie. That is basic across the board. The right thing to do, the mature thing to do, would be to message Cassie and say, I noticed I'm out the group, but why is that? May I ask? Non-confrontational. and go with that conversation, however it goes. If she makes a final judgment that she don't think you should be in a group, then that is the responsibility that she took on by creating the group. And as I'm going to say, head of security, then she's likely making an executive decision that she feels like will be best for the group. Now, that is whether or not you are there a lot, you participate in the protests, or what have you. Just because you come and participate, just because you may be local and you participate, just because you cover it, it doesn't necessarily mean you have automatic rights to be in the protesting group. Those of us who are not a part of the protest group, we don't go protest. We may in the future, but right now we don't. So we don't qualify even. That's not our circle. We don't have an opinion on who gets to stay in a group or not. They are doing that to take care of themselves, to cover their butts, to keep them safe. We are talking about a woman who is no longer with us. Crimes have been committed and still are to this day. This is not something to take lightly. So we are not going to have a tantrum because we want to be in a certain position in the situation and we're not. Maybe that's not where God wants you. Be where God wants you. That's my suggestion. I would not judge Cassie on who she lets in the group or not let in the group, because I respect Cassie in that position and trust her to do what she feels like she needs to do to keep them safe. Because she's also looking out for herself. So she has every right to do what she feels like she needs to do. And she doesn't necessarily have to explain all the reasons why to anyone. If she says, I don't think you should be in a group at this time, respect it. The same way we would have wanted anybody to respect Micah no longer wanting to be in a situation that she felt like wasn't right for her, didn't feel good to her. We would have wanted that to be respected. You may not like it. You may want to contest it. If that's her decision, you have to respect it. Let that woman go. That did not happen. We are not okay with that. We are not okay with this. In case you guys didn't hear, CJ went off on his live about being taken out of the group. And it got pretty harsh and pretty nasty. In my opinion, CJ, you attacked Cassie. That is not okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I have to drink water constantly right now because I had to just start some antibiotics, unfortunately. And it's just nothing but cotton going on. And I'm struggling right now. It's just kicking in. I'm struggling right now, but that's just what I gotta do. Okay. I don't appreciate you doing that, CJ. I'm sure most of us don't know you outside of this case as the same way we probably don't know each other much more than this case. Some are getting to know each other more and this and that. And so, we don't really know what to expect from anyone in a situation, but there are some basic things that we're going to expect and we're going to demand. And that is that everybody keeps everybody safe. Everybody respects everyone. Everybody handles things with dignity and pride that would represent best Micah and her walk in this world. We should not be having public drama amongst ourselves. We are not always going to disagree. It's very complex. A lot of people have opinions concerning, a lot of things, but especially this latest discovery. Some of that drama actually does involve the protesters. They were used as a pawn, and they are seen as a big player in this by both sides. So they are a very important chess piece on the board, and we are supposed to protect them. And that includes you, CJ. It's not going to be tolerated just because you like a content creator. Doesn't mean you should condone everything that they do. And liking one over the other is not going to get you a pass on giving them a pass when they're doing something that is wrong, that is harmful, that also disrespects justice for Micah, because at the end of the day, that is the boss of all of us. That is the main important thing here. You can take everything about you and what you're doing, what you have to contribute, what you want to contribute, and you can put it anywhere else. We only have one justice for Micah. There's only one Micah who is no longer here, and we are not happy about why and how she's not here. And that is a problem, and we are here to put in the work for her, to let the evil world know, the evildoers who did this thing, whatever these things are, and anybody considering it. This is not okay. We're not okay with it, and we're going to fight back. We're not going to just sit back and let you just treat people like this and then potentially either unalive them or send them to being unalive. That is the work here. That is God's work. So if you're coming in to be a part of Satan and his work, then you're going to get some pushback on that. I'm not going to sit back and not say anything about what I've heard. And what I heard is not even a portion of how bad it actually got. I'm not going to go looking for the complete audio. I've heard enough to say I'm appalled. I don't know anything about you. I don't know your past. I don't know how you treat people and how you treat women. But I am highly concerned about this behavior. I'm concerned that you first took it to your live. What were you thinking? I'm also concerned that you used the language you did and the aggression that you did. And that you harped on this like a child instead of using your voice, as they would say in kindergarten, and talking out your frustration, which you have a right to be. But you don't get a right to not respect what Cassie has decided is best for herself and her group. This woman has a right, as someone who is this involved, to protect herself and the family that she cares for, loves, and has to come home to. Each position carries a certain amount of danger, even if we don't realize that danger is potentially there or is there. And being up front and center in a protest, yeah, we can all see how this can be very dangerous. This is being shown to us. So it's not nothing we're going to give a pass on at all. even outside of that, on a basic level, to treat a woman like that is not okay. We're saying things are not okay that happened to Micah from a man. Same applies to you. Don't bring that here. It's not okay. It's not okay. I do think you owe her an apology in your audience. We have the responsibility of being an example of how we should conduct ourselves and treat each other. And we're tasked at a higher level than that when we are actively involved in going against mistreatment of others, as we are. So you get held at a higher standard, just like we hold John Paul Miller at a higher standard, because he is a pastor. He is supposed to be a man of God. He is supposed to be an example, a role model, a leader, a teacher, a true representative of God himself. And all the vile and horrible things we have seen and heard from him, and we're learning about him. It's not okay. We won't tolerate the same or the like within our circle. You have every right to feel the way you want to about what happened. Your feelings, my feelings, Cassie's feelings, anyone else's feelings are not as important in this situation as they could be in other areas of life. Justice for Micah is what's most important. We are owed the basics and nothing else. No special treatment. This is not about anybody getting any special treatment. This is not about anyone getting any special recognitions. This is not about anybody getting any special catapults in where they're trying to go with their careers or, your presence on social media. We're all in support of growth for everyone, benefits for everyone. But you do not get special treatment. This will never be about you, me, and our feelings. We have enough feelings dedicated to Micah no longer being here. What she possibly went through. The people who loved her, who has to bear this every day. Everything that they're hearing and knowing that she went through. What possibly happened to her in her final moments of life? The fact that this woman didn't even see 40 years old, had no children, and it's over for her. I imagine the other side just brings you freedom from this world, this type of world. Because boy, is it something. I mean, look right now. We are dealing with this type of case that shouldn't exist, but that's how the world is. We're also dealing with what took place today, which shouldn't have happened, but that's how the world is. So anything that you don't have to be here dealing with any of this anymore, when there's evil here, there, left, right, up, down, you can't even look anywhere hardly anymore for some kind of warmth, God feeling. That is a rarity nowadays. It's hard to find a spot where you can just feel God's hands wrapped around you so tight. That is supposed to come through us to each other. We will not contribute to Satan's work. We will not. We will not do that and then at the same time parade ourselves as if we're doing God's work. They don't go together. We're hoping that we can make that clear in JP Miller's situation. You don't get to pretend to be a first-hand man of God and be as evil as you are. This man to this day still acts as if Micah is just another name. It's just somebody who he once knew, once had an experience with in life. In no way, shape, or form is he acting like his wife is not only deceased, but according to the law, she wanted to get away from this earth so much so that she did it to herself, as much as she loved and respect God and his rules for us. And the main conflict in her life, according to her, was her relationship with her spouse, her earthly spouse. He doesn't seem the least bit bothered by that. That is scary. I think, CJ, you should be bothered by your actions more so than being bothered by the fact that you were not allowed to be in the group at one point. Now, what I heard from Cassie is she didn't even know that you frequent as much, or she didn't realize it. She didn't realize that, I think you said you stay there like 3 weeks out of a month or something like that. She did not realize that. And that's understandable. Just because you have a platform, a lot of people watch you. She may have known of you. She may have seen you there. She may have seen some footage of yours. But it doesn't mean she fully knows and understands how much you contribute to see that you may qualify. Even if you meet those criteria, there still can be a reason why she will choose to not let you in. I'm going to give you an example. A very important party in this case followed me, commented on my videos, shared my videos, liked my videos concerning this case. I looked up one day and I was blocked. It could have been an accident. It could have been done by the system. That happens. It could have been anything, because the same platform, aka TikTok, that I was blocked on had sent a couple of my videos to other people. And this wasn't even a video that I had posted on TikTok. It was a private video that I made, a sewing video that I would have sent to, someone who's taking a class from me or something like that. It was one of those type of instructional videos. And I got a message from someone and they were like, okay, that's cool, but why'd you send me this? And I'm like, what? Okay. So then I looked at other boxes and I had a video from my phone sent. Who knows how it happened? It's just not even, you got to be careful with all these apps. That's just, we should know this. But however, I did send a message and say, I did not mean to send you these videos. I'm not sure what happened, but I didn't mean to, because it so happens if someone looks in their box and they see this video, they'll be like, she's weirdo. She's weirdo. I didn't even know she sews. Like, what are you sending me a video about sewing for? I know you concerning justice for Micah. So, I just made sure to say that. As soon as I said that, I was blocked. I don't know why I was blocked. I don't let it burden me. I do think that someone else may have, being in that situation, made a big deal out of it. They would have said it publicly. They would have told someone. They would have asked publicly or whatever. But my point is, I chose to not give it too much energy. we don't know what the other person is going through. We don't know what their experience was like unless we talk to them and they share it with us. So I have no way of knowing unless I conversate with this person. What made you block me? And you know what I chose? I can try and ask. If I don't get an answer, it's okay. And also, why am I asking? Because I don't want to do or say something that eventually is harmful when I may have had a different intent. I don't want the person to get misinformation or the wrong idea when I am completely Justice for Micah. I'm just telling my situation to give an example of how things could be handled versus what we want to feed into our own flesh and our own desires. If there's not things that can't be more important than how we feel and how we benefit or think we're benefiting from it, then that's a problem. That's a problem. It's not okay for you to get that upset. You have a right to. You can tear up your room, bang on your computer, throw a chair, hit the punching bag, do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks, go for a jog, ride your motorcycle down the highway for 3 hours, whatever helps you blow it off. You have all that opportunity and you have all those rights. But what you do not get to do is take it out on another person, especially when you haven't even had a conversation with them, and you don't get to bring that drama to us and the family and the public. We are all representing things that are just and things that are right. And we don't put out the opposite. We don't represent the opposite. We will hold ourselves to the same standards that we want to hold John Paul Miller to. As a pastor, he should not be participating in a lot of things that he does. Seeing multiple women while married. Taking advantage of and violating multiple women and young ladies while married. Grooming young ladies while married. Grooming his church members while married. He has great power, way greater than us. But it doesn't make our positions and our roles and responsibilities less important. It is all important. That is what all encompasses us and our walking experiences here on earth. And we are supposed to be making it better for ourselves and each other. And we're supposed to be helping each other to be in the state emotionally, physically, spiritually that we need to be so that we can have the best experience with God for whatever it is that He wants us for. You can never even understand that or get the message from that and walk in that experience if you're being attacked left and right by Satan, if you're being participating in Satan's works left and right. You can hold a different opinion on me than when it comes to God and all that. I'm not speaking on religion. I'm just speaking on my understanding and beliefs as far as our responsibilities here, our relationships with God. That's my opinion. But what we really shouldn't debate is the basic respect. Not being a part of evil. Those are not okay. They can't be debated away. Those are not okay. It's not okay for you to publicly attack and lash out at anyone, much less a woman, because she chose not to put you in the group. A lot of things you didn't consider. Maybe having a conversation with her will bring you to a mutual understanding of why you believe you should be able to be a part of the group. She may agree with you. CJ, she may see something in you that may put them at risk. You may be perceived as possibly or actually being a spy, someone with ill intention. You cannot like that. She doesn't even have to tell you that, but she has a right to make that observation, come to that judgment if she chooses, because that is part of her role. And it's about security. So if that is her perception, I'm sure she knows things that we don't know. We don't get to debate her on that. So I'm speaking to everybody. It's going to be a problem if people are going against Cassie for making that decision for anybody else, and then being on their side and encouraging and participating and them being publicly upset about it. You should not be upset. You should move on. If you're not supposed to be in a place, why are you mad about that? That's apparently where God wants you to be. I want to be where God wants me to be. If God says you can have involvement, but not here, why is it bothering you so bad? Why? I don't understand that part. Why does it bother you so much so that you get completely upset? The first conclusion that I can come to, an assumption, is that you want to either cause some kind of problem, get privy to some kind of information for a bad reason, or for just to benefit you in your growth. And that's putting yourself before justice for Micah. So it's unacceptable. I can't see a reason why you should get upset because you're not in the group. I can't see a reason. I cannot see a reason why you should be excused from going off on Cassie like this. Why are you bringing trauma to another woman? By proxy, you're bringing trauma to other people. Because now we're experiencing this thing that we don't want to experience in life. And we're not okay with it. Just like we're not okay with what we heard about Micah's life and what she went through. And we're supposed to feel that way. But you haven't just affected her. You affected us. You put us in an experience that we didn't want to have and shouldn't have to have. We shouldn't experience. Here is a man blowing up on a woman on a public platform over something that he didn't even give her a chance. He didn't even message her and ask. Hell, I was taken off the schedule for the rest of the week at work. Woke up, went to check for my routes and everything, and I was off of it. I'm going to ask why. I want to know why. I need to know why. I've been put out of a position that I thought I was supposed to be in. So I'm going to inquire why. Okay? There's a couple of reasons that I now understand. That's just a part of life. That's what happens. Truck got to get fixed. These routes are not needing to be covered anyway. That's 2 reasons. Now I have an understanding. I can still be disappointed by not getting in a word, not hearing from anyone, not getting told this probably ahead of time, but they'll text you 10 hours before your shift and want you to reply and confirm, and it's all that of importance. But hey, y'all gonna get y'all stuff, okay? We make sure you get your stuff. The things we have to go through to make sure you get your stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't find it that it's necessarily fair for me, but that's just the way it is. I can choose to harp about it and crap about it, or I can make better use of this time that I now have. I got plenty of stuff I need to be doing, and this is not one of them. However, yes, it is, because here I am. Look at God. Okay? So you have an effect on other people, not just her. That should be considered. If you're going to have this platform, if you're going to be this involved, if you're going to do all this coverage and you're going to be a representative and you're going to do hours and hours of live streaming on this subject, then respect Justice for Micah. And it encompasses all of the things I've already mentioned in this video. Those of you guys who haven't heard it, good for you. I wouldn't seek it. It doesn't sound good. It's a guy going off on a woman that he doesn't really know, which it wouldn't excuse it if he did, but I'm just saying, in anger and rage, because he was no longer allowed to be in a group. And he could have possibly gotten himself back in the group if he used honey instead of vinegar. Honey is sweet. Bees like honey. They really can't do nothing with vinegar but be like, I don't like that. Might make them mad. Might make them sting you. Why not use honey? Try some honey. You got some honey in you? I would like to hope so. I would like to hope that there's different sides of us. We don't want to see that side of you anymore. We're going to hold you accountable each and every time. We're not going to want you to be actively involved in any circles pertaining to Justice for Micah if you're going to behave like this towards other people. The only person I think that we all agree hands down that anybody can go off on, and that's John Paul Miller. He is the biggest evil that we know of in this situation. Well deserving of every lashing he gets. And he's getting it left and right, and everybody's doing a fine job. Everybody. Those who I can name and those who I can't even name. Yes, there's a lot that we can't name because they're not well known. And they still putting in work. Isn't that something? We had questions about another person that was insistent upon being heavily involved from the beginning. Some people questioned it. Some people were in full support. But now, this person is apparently publicly attacking the family because they disagree with a decision they made, which was to come to this global agreement. A lot of people aren't happy about that. They're disappointed in that. I charge you with acknowledging that this isn't the first time we've seen this from this person. There has been conflict there, tension there, discord there between this person and the family all along. It was chosen to be supported, fully supported by a lot of people. You dismissed it. That's not okay. We're not doing that anymore. Doesn't mean you have to be shunned, discarded, attacked, or for the public to see, the bitter, the back and forth, or what have you. But we can speak to each other. We have a responsibility to hold each other accountable. Lectures do not feel good. People do not like them. They have a stern tone. They can be kind of drawn out, as mine is. But I feel like this is what's on my heart to do right now. This is part of my responsibility in this moment. Trying to really express why we should not do this. We should not treat each other this way, and we should not condone it and allow it, whether you like a person or not. It's not okay. CJ, that was not okay. And it brings concern to myself and, from what I can understand, other women that are close to Cassie, that are in this circle, and maybe some people who just happen to hear it, whatever their positions are. I'm pretty sure it's brought concern for a lot of people. Why would you do that? I know we're used to seeing drama nowadays, and a lot of things are looked at as being okay, but it is not okay. CJ, it's not okay. Please, either let it go, leave Cassie alone, don't speak harshly about her decision, blah, 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 anymore, or apologize to her privately and publicly. You brought this to the public. You should apologize. The same way an athlete or a president or somebody would be expected to apologize for something they did wrong. Grown-up people get reprimanded all the time. You brought this on yourself. You are the one who made the decision to go on here and act like this. This is concerning behavior to me. Don't disturb my spirit because you're having an issue that you have not been able to control. Dive within and try to figure that out. Work that out. Ask God for help. Because you should not be responding like this. And then you're going to go and you're going to be physically around protesters. Well, are you safe to be around? Are you a true united representation of justice for Micah? Or are you the ops? Are you showing us you the ops? And it probably was a good decision because God put you out the group ultimately. Is that what happened? Because the way I think, I'm looking at it like, don't get mad at Cassie because God working through her. That's what we want. We pray for that, right? God, help me make the right decisions. Keep me safe. Keep everybody safe. Let me do the best at this job. Whatever this is. I don't care if I'm picking up trash in a parking lot. Help me be safe and do the best job. The right job you want me to do, whether we even know what that is or not. God can tell me to do something different with the paper that represents, like, it just brings forth a different type of fruit, that, except for then throwing it in the trash can. We never even thought of that. That wasn't part of the plan or the agenda. But there's a benefit. God has benefits. It's a reason why we should go to him and look to him and seek to him for guidance. Something we haven't heard JP talk about doing ever at all, and he is a preacher. And we can see what happens when he decides to make his own judgments or judgments based on what his Satan crew, in my opinion, is telling him to do. His Satan daddy, his Satan boss. It's clear who he works for. Okay, you want to work with Satan? You can go over there with John Ball. I mean, you like his shorts. Peach was good. I'm not tripping on that outside of this, but within this, I can kind of put, if I choose, I can put it together and say, you know, maybe you down with JP. Maybe you want to be down with, I don't know. But, you know, you're going to have to go on the other side of that gate, though. Walk into them church walls and go ahead and officially claim your set. Because what set you claim, brother? It's not okay. You're not going to bully another woman in my face. And I'm not going to say anything about it. Okay? I'm not going to beef with you. First of all, you're a dude. Secondly, you shouldn't want to beef with nobody, especially a woman. But to rage on a woman because she did something and you didn't even begin to ask her, I'm going to question how you looking at women. I'm going to question, do you just have the same respect and disdain for women that John Paul Miller does. That's not safe. We don't want you around these women protesters knowing you can snap on somebody like that instead of having a conversation with them. I'm going there. That's where I'm going with this. That ultimately, that's the point. We're going to keep each other safe. We're not going to have you coming in here beating your chest at no woman. Okay? I'm making myself clear. I hope it's clear to you, because you're whom I am addressing, and you're going to have a problem with probably everything that I'm saying. However, the problem is with you. I shouldn't even be here saying this. I don't know who all knows about this, but hopefully some man talks to you about this and holds you accountable and lets you know that, no, we're not doing that. Because they have a responsibility to also protect the women. They're going to be in this circle. You justice for Micah. You don't like what John Paul did to Micah. You don't like the fact that Micah wasn't protected. So be a true representation of that. Because we don't see enough of that going around. We don't see enough of people speaking up for each other. We don't see enough of dudes holding other dudes accountable, just like no dude has been holding John Paul Miller accountable, and he has done some horrible things. This is not going to happen on our watch, sir. Hopefully you guys will like the video. You'll share the video. You know, you can subscribe, click the bell, click the follow. Leave your messages, whatever you have to say. I would like to hear your feedback. I don't have a problem if you disagree with me. Never have a problem. Just, be respectful with it. You can tell me everything I'm saying is wrong. I don't have a problem with that. I let people speak how they want to speak. Just don't come at me sideways, because you're going to get blocked. That's what we're doing there. But you can tell me you think I'm wrong. That's okay. I'm okay with hearing your mind and even considering it and even taking correction. I take it from people in the comment section all the time. On my YouTube, all the time. And now even on TikTok a little bit. But that's my main platform, YouTube. Soul Search. Same as here. You got the 4 1s and a 0. That's how you can find me. That's where the longer version of this video is going. And you can say on either platform how you feel about what I'm saying. You probably have a totally different perspective than I do. That's cool. We should talk about it. But, we should all agree that we're not gonna forget the politicking of the group and all that stuff. Bro, this is not okay. You got to talk to this woman. Choose to talk to her or let it go. But don't go off. You didn't even message her. You didn't even ask her anything. You don't know what happened. It could have been a glitch. You could have got kicked out by Facebook. You could have got kicked out by the government. You could have got kicked out by JP. You could have got kicked out by JP, Loki, True Crime, Riri, anybody. Anything is possible on this planet. And strange things like that can happen. And they do happen. And they shouldn't even really be considered strange anymore. That's how common they are. So it's a plethora of things that could have got you put out the group. However, in this case, we understand Cassie said she deleted people from the group. She was very reasonable in her response, but of course, very bothered by having that experience, and she shouldn't have to have that experience. She doesn't deserve that experience. Cassie stepped into a role because a woman was mistreated and she is no longer here. That should not be praised or rewarded with this. She should not be experiencing this. She got things going on in her life, just like I'm sure you do. And whatever you got going on that caused you to act like that, Doesn't mean nobody else don't have trials and tribulations. But look at how she responded versus you. If you want to talk to me, you can. Am I messaging you? For anybody who's going to say that, even if he wants to say that, why am I messaging you? You did this publicly. I'm letting you know, as well as other people, this is not okay. I'm not going to come behind closed doors and talk to you about this. Although I would dialogue with you now, but yes, publicly, I'm going to say, hello, people, this is not okay. It's not. Y'all have a good night.